Hey, my friend. New moon in Aries is coming up this week. So let's dive in and talk about what this new moon in Aries in Sidereal Astrology is asking of us. My friend, if you are new around here, hello. My name is Danie C. Muniz. I am the founder of Sacred CEO, and I initiate women into conscious leadership. Now, our new moon takes place on Friday, April 17th at 6:52 a.m. Central Time. So adjust that to your time zone. And this new moon has one aspect that it is connected to, and it is pulling out all the things. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And as a reminder, this video is here on the channel, The Cosmic Mystic. And we also have a podcast called The Cosmic Mystic, where all of these videos and even more is over on the podcast. So if you like to listen to these things in an audio version, then you can come on over to the podcast. If you're like, just want to see the video, then here you go, my friend. All right. So we are talking about this new moon in Sidereal Astrology. As a reminder, this channel is all about Sidereal Astrology. So we are talking about an Aries new moon, first off. Secondly, we are talking about, well, it looks like a whole lot is going on over here. We did talk about this full transits that are happening this month in our Sidereal Astrology forecast for April. So make sure to check that out. I'll make sure it is linked here for you. But as you can see, we've got a lot of planets right over here in this Pisces Aries energy. And the new moon has moved over. So the moon moved out of Pisces into Aries. Our sun has moved out of Pisces into Aries, which is where we're getting this new moon in Aries energy. I'm going to peel it back, which is one of the things I love about Luna here, is we peel it back and we just see what this new moon is connected to. And as you can see, it is connected to just one thing right there. It is connected to Chiron. So this particular new moon is in, right, conjunction with Chiron. So what does that mean? How do we work with this energy, right? How does this happen? How do we set intentions? Because I want you to remember, first off, the new moon is all about intention setting. It's planting seeds. It's the fresh start. It's the new beginning. We also have, which is really beautiful because this is our zodiacal new year, right? We've just moved into Aries season. And I did a whole podcast about the energy of Aries and really what Aries is calling us to do this season. You can find that as well on the podcast. And Aries is all about self, right? Aries is the baby of the zodiac. It's the first sign. It is our identity. It is our action. It is our assertion, like how we assert ourselves. It is our desires, our needs, and it is our leadership. It's how we lead and how we are that really pioneering spirit here. Now, Chiron, on the flip side, is all about the wound and how we are healing that wound, right? So when we're looking at Chiron, we're looking at the wounds that you have had in your experience, whether in this lifetime or in other lifetimes where you've been hurt, where you carry shame, where you can become the healer, right? It's your pain, right? You say your pain into your purpose. You probably heard that. Your pain becomes your medicine. Your pain becomes the thing, right? I have a firm belief that the things that we have been through, that is our calling. That is our soul's purpose. We're here to resolve and learn and understand that and be able to then go on and share and support other people. I wouldn't be doing what I am doing today had I not gone through the things, right, that I have gone through. So with this conjunction with the Aries new moon and Chiron, we're here to, or this moon at least is asking us to heal the deepest wounds around our existence, around being able to exist, around being able to be seen, be heard, right? Do the thing, And from that place, begin again. I just read a book, and the name of it is, but I think it's something like The Rule Book for Witches or something like that. And it's a fiction book, and the author did such a great job in writing it. But it's this place of, these women who have been in these marriages, and they find themselves at a place where their husbands are seeking something different, whether that's another woman or whatever, right? And there's this other thing that's happening, and they're trying to find or rediscover themselves. And through this book, they go through that healing, and they begin again. And it's really beautiful that this right here, this is what we're talking about here. So this is the wound of I'm too much, right? This is the wound of reclaiming that space and being able to take up the space in a room, in a conversation, right? In an environment, starting fresh from wholeness, right? Not from the wound, but from wholeness, from healing that wound and being able to step into it and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and this is what I'm asking for, right? And we're initiating here a new chapter where you lead without apology. That's, my friend, I did that for a long time as I was leading, but I was leading with apology. Nowadays, I don't lead with apology, right? I lead without apology because I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I bring to the table, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's with my clients, any environments that I enter. I know what I'm worth. I know what I bring to the table. And it's healing that part of ourselves so that we can step in and be in our full power. So this is where this is coming in. So what is being asked to be healed here? There's a couple of different things. For one, in your existence, and the other in your expression, and also in your desires and the way in which you are leading that, and in who you believe you are, your identity. So let's break this down just a little bit. As if you're being called, and if you're finding these things starting already to come up, my friend, like you're feeling it. If you're like, I'm not really feeling that yet, I'm going to invite you to get curious, first off. And secondly, this new moon runs about 29 and a half days. So this cycle, this little cycle, we'll say the mini cycle of the Aries new moon is the 29 and a half days, right? That's initiation. But we see this for at least another 6 months. So even though you may or may not be feeling it now, you can also be seeing how this is developing, or how this is wanting to come through in the next 6 months. Okay. So, in your idea of existence, right, this is where we're shrinking to make others feel comfortable. We're apologizing when we take up space, like when it's like, oh, I'm so sorry that I cried. Oh, I'm so sorry, right? No, 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 no. Make yourself small, right, to be acceptable, to fit in, like not say the thing that you probably want to say. Questioning, like, should I be here? Do I deserve to be here? Do I have a right to be here? Right? Who am I to do this thing? Who am I to lead this thing? Who am I to say this thing? Right? This might come out in your expression. So, not expressing the anger because it might be too much, right? Or if they have that fire, like you're a very fiery person, which I love fire people, it might be too intense for people. And so you're like, oh, I can't bring that full fire. If I bring that full fire, I'm gonna blow up this place and they're not gonna like it, right? The other one is the too aggressive, right? Hiding your passion, your desire. It might be too aggressive. You don't want to come across too aggressive, right? And then minimizing, right? Trying to, I'm trying to be humble, right? I want to be humble. So and this is one that I definitely struggle with, is like minimizing that boldness, that like, yes, I have something to say, right? I have something, or I have done things. I've had experiences where, and one in particular, I was on a sales team, and we were asked to send our bios, and I sent my bio in, and we were at dinner, and they were telling me like, oh, the bios got all screwed up, but there was a problem with the bios. And I was like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, you should have read yours. Yours was hilarious. And they start saying things that are in my bio, and they're like laughing, and I was like, no, that's legit true. And they're like, what? And I was like, that's legit true. And then they're like, oh yeah, and then it said this, and I was like, yeah, that's true too. And it was like, it was in that moment, I could have laughed it off like, oh, that's funny, ha ha ha, right? But in that moment, I was like, oh no, no, that's me. And they were all like, oh my God, I was newer to the team at the time. And so they were like, oh my God, who are you? Right. And it was like, it was very interesting how, but we can do that, right? We could have easily been like, oh, that's funny, ha ha ha, and not really accepted like that's who you are, right? Okay. This can come up in your desires, right? Oh, I see this a lot, like the shame around wanting something. Like I want this, um, I don't want it fully, right? Like I want to have $1 million business, but like I don't want to take people's money, right? Like like I want this thing, but I'm also like having all this shame around wanting it. um, Maybe even guilt for having your needs met, right? Asking for that thing that you need, asking for the space, asking for the time, asking for the pause, asking for the conversation. um, Being selfish, this is another one I see a lot, is being selfish. Like you don't want to be selfish, right? Aries is one of the best signs to teach us on how to be selfish. And what I like to say is consciously selfish. Like I'm consciously choosing me, and not like other people might not agree with that. Other people might not see that because they are conditioned into a particular belief system. And for me, it's like, no, I'm consciously choosing myself. I'm consciously saying no to go hanging out at this event or go doing this thing because I am preserving my energy, right? That is consciously being selfish. I'm consciously choosing myself. And then apologizing for your ambition. Like I see women out there who are so ambitious, who have all these huge goals and want to complete these big things, and then they're apologizing for it. They're not allowing themselves to fully allow that passion, that desire to come through. Now, this comes up in your leadership and how you're leading because you're waiting. You're waiting for permission. You're waiting for somebody to do something, right? You're playing second when you're meant to be first. My friend, you are meant to be first. You are not meant to play second fiddle. So, following when you are meant to pioneer, this is one I've struggled with for a very long time in pioneering the thing, sidereal astrology. Not everybody does sidereal astrology. And I was always hesitant. I was hesitant for a long time to talk about sidereal astrology and do videos about sidereal astrology because it's different, right? And then even in this aspect, I don't see a lot of sidereal astrologers. At least I don't even see a lot of astrologers, but I don't even see a lot of sidereal astrologers really talking about the healing aspect, the work, right, aspect, the shadow work, the trauma work, whatever that might be, like that work, the subconscious work. I don't see them talking about that and astrology together, and that is something that I do. That is something that I love, and it's like bringing those two worlds together. And so there's that pioneering, right? But for a long time, I followed what everybody else is doing, right? And then even hiding your authority, hiding what you know, hiding your position on things. And so this does show up in the identity, right? You don't want to be too loud, too opinionated, too bold, too much. You dim all of that, right? Because bigger is dangerous. Being seen is dangerous, right? Being yourself has gotten you hurt before, right? And so I know for me, there's that wound of being myself and people not accepting, people laughing at it. I was probably like 12, maybe 11 or 10, maybe 11 or 12 when that happened. And I made decisions about the world in that moment that I can't be myself because people aren't going to like me. People are going to laugh at me, right? So, what can we do? How can we use this to heal some of those things, right? So we can reclaim our right here, our right to exist, our right to be seen, our right to be heard. We can use this energy right here to reclaim that, to say, I'm here. Like, I'm taking up this space right here, right now, right? I don't care if my video should be 10 minutes long, it's going to be 30 minutes long because I have the right to do that, right? And my people will like that, right? My existence is not up for debate, right? My existence is not up for debate. For some of us, that is a debate, right? We're debating our existence. Should we even exist? Yes, 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 my friend. You're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. So we can reclaim that energy. You don't need permission to be yourself. Reclaim that. You have every right to take up space. So reclaiming that right to exist. Number two is the too much wound, right? So we can heal the I am too much to I am exactly right. I'm exactly where I need to be. It is always divine timing, right? I am the aspect of me that is perfect in this moment, right? My bigness or my loudness or my expressiveness, my passion is a gift. It's not a flaw. It's a gift. It's my unique special powers, right? The right to love people intensely, right? A lot of times we want to shy back from loving fully and completely because we're going to get hurt, right? But what if you called that back and you just loved, right? And not shrinking to fit in, not shrinking to, right, to be part of, not to rock the boat, right? My friend, like I love, and you've probably seen this too, when a woman walks in and she is in her power and you can feel it. She is not too big, she's not too loud, she's not too passionate, she's not too aggressive. She is in her power. And that, my friend, is where we want to be. The other one is this idea of anger. And I think a lot of us, with the Aries energy, there's a lot of aggressive energy. It's ruled by Mars. So there's this very fiery energy. And for some of us, anger is something that we've, pushed away. We've pushed down, we've pushed away. We don't want to get into because of what our families made that mean, right? Or we didn't have the ability, right, to get angry. It's like you couldn't get angry, right? Whatever, however that was for you. And here's what I want to remind you of. Anger, all emotions, first off, are information, which means anger is information. Anger is simply telling you a boundary that's been crossed, right? It's telling you something that you don't like. You don't want. That's information, my friend. That's simply what it is. Healthy anger protects you. So you can be angry because a lot of people think like, oh, I'm spiritual, so I don't get angry. Oh, I get angry. I get angry. You can ask my love. I get angry. I have learned, right? And I think in the beginning, I was trying to get out of, right, a lot of those quote unquote negative emotions, but they're not. What I've come to learn or to understand is that they're not bad, because all of the information, love is information, joy is information, happiness is information, sadness is information, depression is information. All of that is information, my friend. Invite when you feel angry, right? And if we're working on healing some of these wounds, I can guarantee you that there's anger in there. Allow yourself to feel the anger, to step into the anger, to get upset, to get mad about something, to get it out of your body, because my friend, it'll poison you if you don't. Now, the other one is owning your desires. Your wants, your desires are not selfish, right? You can have more and be good. You can want more and be good. It was interesting. We are traveling and working, hence the new different background for the video here today. And one of the things that kind of came up was my love had won at bingo, and he had won, a few $100s in bingo. And then we were out on the casino floor playing slot machines, and a friend of mine was like, "Are you done? Are you done gambling?" Telling him, and he's like, "Yeah, I won. I'm good." And she was like, "But you could have more. Like, why can't you have more? Right? Why can't yes, you've won, but why can't you win more? Why can't you have more?" Right? And it was this idea of like, oh yeah, could I have more? Do I want more? Right? Is it okay for me to have more? And so even as I wasn't the one who was, in that situation because he won, not me, but I was thinking about like, oh wow, if I had won, would I kind of be like, okay, I won, I'm good, right? I'm good. Or would I still be in the, I want more? And my friend was definitely in the energy of I want more, which was great. It was great to see that, at least be a witness to it. The other one is actually claiming your leadership. Now, here, right, Sacred CEO, we lead. We don't follow, we lead. We recognize when we're following and we choose to lead, right? We lead ourselves first so that we can lead others. So claiming that leadership role, right? You don't need another certificate, another modality, another class to be ready to lead. You already are, my friend. You're already ready. You're in the perfect timing to go ahead and take that first step and lead. You don't have to know the whole path, right? And this is where reclaiming that leadership starts to happen. You don't have to know the whole path. I don't always know the whole path. Most of the time, I don't know what I don't know. I know where the destination is. I know where I'm going. I don't know all the steps that it's going to take me to get there. And trust me, that was a learning lesson for me in being able to trust that to just take the next step and the next thing will be revealed. That was one of the things that I learned really hugely when I started working with the Akashic Records. They never tell me the whole path. I never get the whole path. I can ask and ask and ask and ask, and they'll give me the next step. Maybe the next 2 steps, but it's just the next step. It's never the whole thing. And having to trust that has been a huge, huge growth for me. Being able to state that your voice matters, being able to use your voice, state what it is that you want to say. These are all things, my friend, that you can reclaim, that you can call back in, that you can step into with this particular new moon. Now, the final thing is starting fresh from wholeness, knowing that you are whole and complete. You are whole and complete. Now, are there things that you might be disconnected from? Are there things that may be covering part of you that hasn't been able to been expressed? Yes, yes. Excuse me. You don't have to be fully healed to begin. You can start now. You don't have to be fully healed to begin. You can start now, right? You can work. We don't want to come from obviously the scarred place. We want to come from the wounded, the non-wounded place, the healed place. But you can still start. You can still begin. You can still call in and declare what it is that you desire, that you want. So here's what I'm going to invite you to do to work with this new moon. Now, setting intentions is always the best thing to do, right? Under any new moon, you always want to set an intention for what you want to see, experience, have a breakthrough around in this next cycle. Now, for this particular new moon, I'm going to invite you into this simple process. And it is something that you can do in addition to setting your intentions. So you might do this before you set your intentions, or you could do this after you set your intentions. Either way would be perfectly fine. So the first thing you want to do is you want to name whatever that wound is. And so you might need some journaling time here, right? Because before you can heal it, you've got to be aware that it's here, right? You've got to be able to see it. So you can take some time journaling, right? When did I first learn that I was too much? Or when did I first decide that I was too much, right? Maybe even, what happened to make me feel like I needed to shrink, or I needed to be small, or I couldn't use my voice, right? What happened maybe when I was fully myself and something happened, right? Where does this still control me? Where is this wound still controlling me? And get really specific, like, where were you? What were you doing, right? What did you say? What did you think? Like, what were the thoughts that you were having? What was said to you? Get really, really crystal clear on what that is. And then what did you make things mean? So did you learn that it was dangerous, or that it was that you're going to be unloved? It was one of the things I got, was I would be unloved if I actually expressed who I was. A lot of the time my father didn't know how to deal with emotion, right? And so he would always say, like, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about, right? It was a big thing in my, like, I just start crying, and it would be like, I'm just trying to let the emotion through, right? And I didn't know this as a child, obviously, and he didn't know, right? And so he would be like, stop crying. And so I learned that it wasn't that I'm not going to be loved, or it's a bad thing to cry, right? And so I always tried to hold my tears as much as I could, right? We learned things to adapt to survive, my friend. And now we don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to do that anymore. Okay. So the healing is going to start when you name it. Let me tell you how many times once I name something, I'm like, oh, okay, right? And the second step here is to actually feel that anger, feel that frustration, feel it all, right? Let yourself access that rage, whatever that is, because that brings clarity, that brings power to you, right? Whatever that is, like say it, like I'm pissed off, or I'm that's effed up, or whatever. Like say it. Allow yourself to have the anger come through you. So a good practice or somatic practice around anger is to allow the anger to come in, right? And you can stand with your feet grounded and let yourself feel the anger, right? Whether it was you were told to shrink or to stop crying or whatever it is, right? Don't think about it. I don't want you to think about it. I want you to just feel the anger moving through your body. Where do you feel it, right? And then move the anger. So maybe you need to stomp your feet, right? Maybe you need to shake your whole body out. Maybe you need to make a sound like, like a very primal sound. Like sometimes I'll have to like crunch down and be like, yeah, right? Like just really like my whole body engaged. And I want you to trust your body here, right? Maybe like, what does it feel and how would you want to move? Like once you feel it, then you start to feel like, oh, I don't want this, right? And you start to like move your body around. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be crazy. It can be. It's however your body wants to express this. So you can punch a pillow, you can scream into a pillow, but let it move through you, okay? And then step 3, you want to speak it. You want to say it. I'm angry. I was told this. I'm furious. I was shamed for this. I am done with this, right? And say it out loud and feel it like I am done, like, right? Like really feeling everything, all that emotion, whatever it is, like channel that anger. In the last pieces here, we're going to channel that anger. And that is the anger is fuel, my friend. The anger is fuel. It's fuel for that new beginning. And you get to right here, right now, declare. So after you've moved through this and you're speaking it and you're saying that you're done, you declare right then and there, what do I now want? What do I now say? What do I now see? What do I now feel? What do I now know? And you declare that in that full power, now that you've reclaimed all the things. Okay, my friend? This is a beautiful, beautiful new moon, an opportunity to do some really good healing work. If you would like support in this, please, please, please reach out to me. I can tell you what that might look like to get some additional support in this. If you'd like to, take this a step further into joining our Sacred CEO Collective community, I'd love, love, love to have you. These are some of the things that we're going to be talking about in this next season. All right, my friend, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And remember to keep shining your unique